Hey everybody, welcome into To The Point Podcast. I'm your host, Noah Warren. Hope you're all doing well. It is Thursday, April 6th. It is the start of the 2023 Masters, Agusta National, the Azaleas, Amen Corner. All of that is underway. Few notable names are at the top of the leaderboard. We'll get to that in a second. But on today's program, we're going to talk about the Masters. I'm going to get into some other things, some NHL news and notes that I find really interesting, including the scoring that's happening around the league, the 100-point getters. I want to talk about that game, Winnipeg, Calgary last night. Woof, what a game that was, or lack thereof. Just a complete tire fire of a hockey game last night. Want to get into that. Bunch of other different stuff on the program today. Easter weekend coming up. This coming weekend, we got some sports, UFC 287 this weekend, which should be a lot of fun. So lots to chew on, lots to dive into today. Joining all of you over my left shoulder, I have the Masters on. So I'll be tracking it throughout the show. If anything happens worthwhile, I'll bring it up because I like to multitask, and I got to watch the tournament. I mean, come on. Talk about it, you got to take it in. And it's been an interesting start to the Masters because you have familiar names at the top, where currently leading the tournament is Victor Hovland. One of my favorites from Norway. He's been in contention at a few majors, has won a number of events on the PGA Tour, but has fallen short. He was in contention at the Open Championship last year. He's always been in the mix, and it seems just he has one really bad day at a major, and that can push him out, but he is one of the most talented golfers in the world, bar none. So to see him having the success he is so far with 7 under par, he's on the 17th hole right now. He's playing in a group with Eldrick, Tiger Woods, and Xander Schauffele, so two very worthwhile competitors. A lot of pressure playing with Tiger Woods, especially at Augusta. So to see him play with as much poise, play with as much confidence as he has is a credit in and of itself for what he's done thus far. So kudos to Hovland. Jon Rahm follows him at 6 under. This is my first of the things I'm going to get wrong. I bet on Tuesday on the show with Seamus. If you haven't listened to that podcast, go back and listen to that one. Casey and Seamus joined me. A lot of fun. Talked about the Masters, got into some really interesting golf discussion. So hopefully you enjoyed that as much as I did. I really enjoyed chewing it up with those two guys and getting into a number of different things. So go back and listen to that one, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. But I bet Seamus $20 that I bet him that Jon Rahm would miss the cut. And my reasoning was Jon Rahm had not been playing well coming in, had a great start to the season. He was unbeatable early in the year. It was Scheffler, Rahm. They were going back and forth. He's missed a few cuts. He didn't play particularly well at the match play in Texas. So I was losing some confidence in him. But here we go, 6 under through 16. Very well could be tied for the lead by the time he's off the course. He's never played particularly well at Augusta National, but he is currently. And he's doing his thing. He's putting well. And really, I would say the big thing of the day is that guys are chewing up this course here on day one of the Masters. Brooks Koepka is 5 under par. He's taken the confidence from winning on the LIV Tour last week, and he's brought it into Augusta. Now he's won 2 U.S. Opens. He's won a PGA Championship. This guy is great at the majors. He hadn't been for a couple of years. He had gone through some knee surgeries. But Brooks Koepka looks great. And I got to say, I'm enjoying getting to watch Brooks Koepka. I don't watch the LIV Tour. I don't go on the CW to exactly track sports. That's not. I think that's where they put Drake's Degrassi show back in the day, which I'm never going to watch that because I have ethics. And I like, to enjoy my time. But it's fun to see Brooks play well. It's fun to see Brooks compete because for a while there, he was the best player on the PGA Tour, period. They all led this in full swing. Daniel Rappaport of Barstool and the Foreplay Pod, he talked about how Brooks for 2 years was unbeatable. He was bombing it. He was taking the lessons from Tiger, from these guys, and just hitting it longer distance. His putting was normally pretty good, but he outlined how he'd lost his confidence completely. And he left the PGA Tour basically because he didn't believe he could beat these guys anymore. But here he is through 5 holes. He's 5 under par. He's competing with the likes of Scotty Scheffler, Scheffler's only played 7 holes so far. He's 2 under. So again, he can make up time. But these guys are playing well. You have Koepka at 5 under. Former Masters champion Adam Scott is at 5 under. He's a deceiving player because he never plays. He doesn't play a whole lot of events on the PGA Tour. He plays on the DP World Tour. He'll play over in Europe. But he loves this course. You also have Cameron Young, who made it to the final of the match play. He's at 5 under par through 16. And as I'm talking here, Victor Hovland, Schauffele, Tiger Woods group are finishing up their day. Tiger's currently at 1 over. He's had a better back 9. His swing looks more compact. He looks more confident with it, although he's in tough here to make a tough par putt. So he might be 2 over, 3 over by the time we get to the end of the day. For the Tiger storyline, it's never, if you're gambling and you put money on Tiger to win, you're an idiot. That's a losing bet. It's not going to happen. And that's, FanDuel, that's all these great gambling companies taking your money, taking your mortgage check because, you're throwing money away. And you could argue every bet is that way, but in particular this one. But I still expect Tiger to make the cut. I do, because I think he'll play better tomorrow. But what concerns me is the fatigue level with Tiger. They gave him a good setup when it comes to tee times today and tee times tomorrow. He's going to get optimal rest time. But we've seen him as he gets later into these events, he gets worse. His play worsens. He stops hitting fairways. And it becomes more and more difficult for him to play, at that elite level. So I don't think he was horrible today. He hasn't played since Riviera, where he got through 4 rounds. That was the biggest thing there. He played well at certain points. Excuse me. But I expected him to play better today and then have a little bit of a drop-off tomorrow because that's what his normal routine's been over the last couple of years when he does play. Is Thursday he finds it a little bit, then Friday he survives to make the cut, and then whatever happens on the weekend happens. Sometimes it withdraws. Occasionally he plays well like he did on Riviera. I think he shot in the 60s on the Saturday. So that stuff does happen for him, but I worry a little bit about the fatigue level and what he'll look like tomorrow during the day for his second rounds. But I'm curious to watch it, of course, and it's fun to see him on the course. It's fun to see him playing. Also, so you got Koepka. Sam Burns is 4 under through 4 holes. Sammy Burns, who won the match play, so he's coming in with some momentum. He's looking good early on in his day. Shane Lowry shot 4 under today. Former major winner. Again, a guy you don't hear about a lot until you get to the majors. And then seemingly he finds a way to be involved. Former winner there. You got Xander Schauffele. He's 4 under playing with Tiger and Victor Hovland today. So he looks good. Phil Mickelson is 2 under through 9 holes quietly. And it's funny, I'm watching the coverage here as I'm doing the show. They haven't shown one Phil Mickelson shot yet. It's weird that old lefty is there, quite frankly. He's made the most comments. He's really quiet. He hasn't done any media. He said no to doing a media day, which is strange. He looks like he's lost about 50 pounds. He's really, really thin. He looks like a different person, Phil Mickelson. But they're not showing him. They're showing Koepka. They're not showing a whole lot of Cam Smith either. So they're being fairly careful when they show the live players, in conjunction with the PGA Tour pros. I've noticed other than Koepka, because he is at the top of the leaderboard, and if somebody's playing extremely, extremely well, you can't help but put them on TV and give them the coverage. And as I'm saying this, Schauffele is putting as he's on 18. Schauffele just missed a birdie putt, so he'll finish his day likely 4 under par. He'll be right in the mix. Strong first day for Xander Schauffele, who's still looking for his first major win. He's won medals at the Olympics, but he's never won at a major. Other impressive outings today. I guess not impressed. Patrick Reed shot 1 under par. He was in it early, kind of dropped off a little bit. You got, Max Homa's +1 through 6, a little surprising for me. I thought he'd be better. Matthew Fitzpatrick's +2 through 6. Kurt Kitayama did not have a good day. Adam Svensson +3. Canadian DeChambeau is +4 through 12. Shocker. Will Zalatoris, another guy who's always plays well at the majors. He's done for the tournament. Back injury. He had to withdraw. Kevin Na had to withdraw this morning. He was in the first group playing with Canadian Mike Weir. So 2 guys withdrawing, which in my friend text chain, I said it pisses me off. Kevin Na plays 4 holes, and then he says, okay, I'm done. I'm sick. Well, did you not know you were sick yesterday? And because you were 3 over through 4, okay, well, now I'm going to bow out? Let somebody else play. Let my guy, Ricky Fowler, go play. Nobody wants to see Kevin Na. Kevin Na's family doesn't want to see Kevin Na play golf. Ricky Fowler is still one of the most popular, one of the most noteworthy players on the planet. Look at his commercials. He's in more than anybody. And as I say that, Victor Hovland just finished his day. He's 7 under. He's currently the leader. Jon Rahm is approaching the 18th hole, so Jon Rahm can match him. But Victor Hovland shoots 7 under today, 65. Really impressive start to the tournament. Tiger Woods is now putting for bogey. That would be a +2 opening round for Tiger Woods. So he's lining it up here. And he knocks it down. So Tiger Woods shoots 2 over, 74. Decent start. Not a great day for Tiger, as I said, but it is manageable. You're still very much in the mix to make the cut tomorrow. He's got to play well tomorrow. He doesn't have a whole lot of wiggle room, I will say that. He needs to find his game. He's got to hit more fairways. His putter needs to wake up a little bit. You saw signs of it today. But Tiger Woods is putting himself in contention to make the cut. Winning the tournament, never a possibility. As I outlined earlier, a sucker's bet, a losing bet, and even the biggest Tiger Woods superfan, you're throwing your money to the sports book. So have fun with that. I don't like doing that. But I do think he makes the cut. A couple of veterans today that I have to give props to. Fred Couples and Mike Weir. Freddie Couples is definitely I think he's in his 60s. I'm going to look that up because he's been around a long time. He gets to play this tournament because he's won it. Pardon me. But Freddie Couples, well known in the golf world. He is, let me see here. Fred Couples is 63 years old. 63, he plays the same as the pros, and he shot 1 under today. He shot better than Tiger Woods. He shot better than Bryson DeChambeau, than Adam Svensson, than Bubba Watson, Keith Mitchell, Kurt Kitayama, Sergio, Sahith Theegala, Max Homa so far. It's really incredible. He shoots 1 under at 63. Now he might shoot 10. He might shoot an 84 tomorrow, but to shoot a 71 at this course at his age is truly remarkable. The fact that he did that today is astonishing. The fact that he could push to make the cut maybe at his age is crazy in and of itself. Awesome to see. That's the one good thing about the Masters. Every past champion gets an invite. And you do get some of these stories where you look at a guy and you're like, how's he still playing? How's he doing this? You see Bernard Langer. You see Freddie Couples. And then you have Mike Weir. Mike Weir, the Canadian, at this event. Shoots even par, 72 today. He's going to be the low score for a Canadian in all likelihood today. The oldest Canadian in the field of 4 of them. He won this event back in 2003. The biggest moment in Canadian golf history, certainly. It's incredible what he's doing. The fact that I can't believe that he shot even par today. He was the first one on the course. He had to play the entire back 9 by himself because shitty old Kevin Na withdrew. But Mike Weir, representing Canada, goes even par, the past champion at his age. So you have the old guys doing well, and then you see a guy who we torched on the podcast yesterday because he's playing in the Scotty Scheffler group, the amateur, Sam Bennett, not the hockey player, the amateur who's in the league group, is 3 under through 6 holes. 3 under through 6 holes. Sam Bennett, never heard of him, coming from the University of Texas, making a name for himself at the Masters. Now, he could completely fall apart here, but he had an eagle on the second hole in the par 5, birdie number 4, and he stayed consistent since. I still think Ricky Fowler should be playing at this tournament for a number of guys, including Sam Bennett. But I can't hate the fact that he's playing the golf course really well, that he looks extremely confident with his putting. Good for him. Really good for him that he's playing so well. Rory McIlroy's at even par through 4 holes. You have Sung J M who's even through 14. Finau, Patrick Cantlay's even through 16, so he didn't have a great day. Jordan Spieth's 2 under through 4. Joaquin Niemann is 3 under. Casey talked about him the other day, really good golfer. Cameron Smith is -2 through 15, quietly. Justin Thomas is 3 under. He's right in the mix. Chris Kirk, who's won on the PGA Tour this year, he's 3 under. He's about to finish his day. Solid, good golfers, always in contention at these events. Played well last week at Valero. So you get Sam Burns, Koepka, Cam Young, Tom Kim, Hideki Matsuyama, former champions, 2 under. Interesting stuff early on here at the Masters. It's early. The weather is good today. They're expecting some rain this weekend, which, when I talk about Tiger Woods, does not bode well for him because with the cold temperatures, he doesn't like the cold. He doesn't like playing in the rain. So that does not bode well for him, certainly. That can affect him. That could make his play drop even more. So that's not a good sign for him. But the course is playing pretty easy today. It seems to be playing quite well. The greens are fast, as Jordan Spieth just knocks in a birdie putt, another former champion here. But this is a fun event. Looking forward to watching it. You got a long weekend that coincides with Easter. That is really well. Normally, Easter's a weird holiday because it falls on a different time every year. Which, not to not to nitpick here, not to nitpick with anybody, because I wouldn't want to do that, but I mean, it was my understanding with Easter that, Good Friday is the day that Jesus was killed, which again, weird day. Why would that be a Good Friday? But nevertheless, I'm not criticizing how they approach this, but why would that be a Good Friday? You think it would be bad Friday, like the worst Friday. But anyway, so Good Friday is the day Jesus died. And then Sunday, Easter Sunday, is the day that he arose from wherever they kept his body, the little shutter in. Why does it change every year? Christmas is the day that Jesus was born, December 25th. That's set in stone, right? Why does it change every year of Easter? Did he die on different days? Did they not know? Did they not mark it? Again, not a criticism, just asking, just pondering, just asking a question. If anybody knows out there, if anybody's more up to date on the religious stuff, feel free to add it in, because I will be open. I am not something I track often, not a piece of literature that I normally go to all that often. So, but I could just be really uninformed. But I find it strange how it changes every year. Nothing against the holiday, nothing against the spirit of it. Well, I mean, yes, something against the holiday. I think, the whole bunny to go buy kids crap. I mean, you think about these holidays, who came up with this? It's all for the kids, to buy them chocolate, to buy them gifts. Like, did kids write these things? Did kids create these holidays? They had to have, because who would want to do it? What parent wants to buy their kids stuff on Christmas, on Easter, on whatever else? Canada Day, go buy your stickers and shit. Do that, celebrate it that day. Who came up with these? The children are smarter than the adults, because you're telling me back in they were going to hand out gifts to kids. Gave them what back in the day? A ball with a little stick on it? Ball in a cup? They swang that thing around and play with that? Is that what was going on? I don't know. Again, just something to ponder. I have no problem how you celebrate Easter. Just the whole premise of some of them, just strange to me. But enjoy responsibly, as always. But looking forward this weekend to watching the Masters, watching sports. The Easter, the bunnies, that crap, we'll save that for another day. Save that till next year, maybe. But if you are doing it that way, also, I guess I'll have to ask Seamus or Casey this tomorrow when we watch golf together. Do you buy your significant other something for Easter? Is that an obligation? Is it like Christmas where you have to buy somebody something for Easter? I don't think so. But, people get more and more tricky. People get more and more convoluted in these holidays where you have to buy something for somebody. Maybe the fact that I'm asking this is another reason why I am currently single, amongst many reasons. All of them all of them my fault. But maybe that, do you have to exchange a gift for Easter? Because it feels like you have to. I mean, these holidays are all, just capitalism at its finest now. Because I could see a few people, men and women, be a little upset if they didn't get something on this holiday. I could see that. Because you got a birthday, you got to give a gift then. That's set in stone. That's easy. Okay, get a gift. By the way, I got a friend's birthday coming. I'm about to get him a gift. It's a good reminder. But birthday, you have to give a gift. And I see Creighton's Fillmore likes the video. Maybe Creighton, if you're listening, you can chime in. Because I know this is honestly an honest question. Do you have to buy your significant other a gift on Easter? I don't know. Something I'm foreign, but it's just something that came to my mind because it feels like any occasion now you have to buy a gift. Birthday, Christmas, Hanukkah, first communion, graduation, going to the bathroom. Do you? I don't think so. But maybe. Now I need to know this. I never recall my parents exchanging gifts on Easter. We got stuff, but then what's the point of Easter if you don't have children? Here's the rule. Here's what I've discovered today. If you don't have children and you don't celebrate religious holidays, then Easter is just nothing, I guess. I guess that's how I look at it. I guess that's how I've been looking at it since about age 10. But, yeah. Interesting. That's how my brain works. I just, I had to get that out. Thank you guys for listening. Appreciate it. And is Easter, I always feel like it's more of a ham meal. Maybe that's why I hated Easter, because I hate ham. Never eat it. It's not a turkey. It's not a turkey meal, I don't think. I think it's ham, I don't know. Interesting. But anyway, I'll move on. Enough of this talk about holidays and things of that nature, because that can get convoluted. And as we're talking, Rory McIlroy just had a double bogey on 7. He's now 2 over par. Part of the reason he doesn't win this tournament is how he starts. He always has to come back. He always has to play extremely good golf to stay in the mix. Phil Mickelson's 1 under. Rory McIlroy's 2 over. He's only played 7 holes, so he has some time to recover, but he's going to have to quickly here to stay in the mix. Let's move to hockey. As I'm recording here, I get some news. Head coach Jared Bednar, he's the head coach of the Colorado Avalanche, addressed the media and said that Cale Makar and depth forward Darren Helm are out indefinitely with lower body injuries. Bednar added that both players are dealing with new injuries, not just maintenance from previous ailments. Cale Makar has missed 17 games on the season. Multiple injuries, a couple concussions. Apparently this is not a concussion, a lower body. The Avs have still not seen Gabriel Landeskog this season. Arturi Lehkonen is out. Josh Manson is also out. And yet Colorado sits first in the Central Division. Nathan McKinnon's a complete horse. And they continue to look incredible. But here's the deal. They said they're going to miss the stretch run. So Colorado actually is one of the teams that finishes a week from tomorrow. Their last game is next Friday against the Nashville Predators. So they have a week left in their season, 5 or so games to play, and Cale Makar is going to miss all of them. My question is, and my thought is, well, how many games is he going to miss in the playoffs? How many is he going to be out the entire first round? They can survive that depending on who they play. I believe Colorado can win a first round series in the Western Conference if they win the Central. They may even be able to win a series without Josh Manson and Cale Makar if they get the right matchup. So currently, as it stands, Colorado is first in the Central Division, which is impressive. They're tied for first, but they have a game in hand over Dallas and Minnesota. So they played 76 games. They'll play their 77th tonight against San Jose. And they have 6 games remaining. Dallas and Minnesota both have 5. So interesting stuff there. It's unlikely they're going to catch the Pacific team. Vegas has 104 points with 4 games remaining. Edmonton has 103. LA has 100. So likely Colorado is going, if they win their division, which I think they will play the first wildcard team, which right now, and I think it'll finish this way, is the Seattle Kraken. The Kraken have been around all year long. They win games when they have to. They are the team full of 15 goal scorers, as I predicted before the year. But you look at that team, they're missing a lot of key ingredients. Their goaltending is not what you want it to be. They don't have an elite talent on their roster. They don't have a superstar player. But they have a lot of good players. Vince Dunn's been fantastic. Norris-esque this year for him. But I still believe with Colorado's depth and the way they play, they can survive without him. They can survive without Makar and beat the Seattle Kraken. It may not be as easy, but I think they can beat the Kraken minus Cale Makar if he has to miss parts of the postseason. The big question is, well, can he be back for the second round and how healthy is he going to be? Because Colorado is not getting back to a Stanley Cup final. They're not winning a second round without Cale Makar. You play Dallas or you play Minnesota, that's a different series. That's a much different task. Those two teams are far superior to Seattle. Both teams have better goaltending than Seattle. Both teams have better defense. And they're different styles. Seattle's kind of run and gun. They'll play offensive hockey with you. They take chances. They cheat a little bit. And they live with that. Then you look across the bow and you have a team like Minnesota. They are so detail-oriented. They are so structured. They frustrate you to no end. And they limit time and space, and it's extremely difficult. Now, Colorado plays fast. They play up-tempo. And if Colorado's playing well and they're on their game against a team like Minnesota, Minnesota is in tough. But Minnesota plays hard against everybody, and they seem to create problems for any team in the league. If you recall the Toronto Maple Leaf game in early February, that was problematic because they limit everything. Austin Matthews didn't have the puck. Mitch Marner didn't have the puck. They ultimately won the game in overtime, but they seem to get a point from out of you. They seem to find a way to win, and Philip Gustafson's playing better than Georgiev is. Dallas, they got a whole lot of different options. Jamie Benn's playing at a much better level than he was for the last number of years. Jake Ottinger's one of the best young goalies in all of hockey. Dallas is tricky. Jason Robertson, little Joe Pavelski, Roope Hintz, who's great. Miro Heiskanen on the back end. So Cale Makar needs to be back for the second round for me. It's a must. There's no other way, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He needs to be available. He has to be ready to play. He needs to make an impact on the group. Because he's their most important player. Nathan MacKinnon is fantastic. Nathan MacKinnon is having a superstar season because he is one. But Cale Makar is their most important player because their back end is good, not great. Mikko Rantanen is a stud. He is. Evan Rodriguez is a really good player up front. You go through their team. Bowen Byram will have to step up and be a hell of a lot better if Cale Makar is not available. He's one of the top 5 best players in the league. You need him available. And if you have McKinnon, you have Rantanen, you have Makar, you got a shot against anybody. Point blank. You got a chance against anybody. In Colorado, if those 3 players, I can guarantee health, it's hard not to say that they shouldn't be the favorite to get to the Stanley Cup final out of the West. It's hard to go against that opinion because we saw it last year. We know how fucking good they are. We know how good those guys are. We know how they deliver, how McKinnon's played since coming back from injury. He's arguably been the best hockey player in 2023. Even better than McDavid. It's close. But you need health, and that's something you can't predict. We talk about all the time, the least goaltending. Well, this player's hurt, this player's hurt. Well, if he's not available, then we got problems. Then you got something to worry about. And Colorado's in San Jose tonight. Again, I think they're going to be fine, and I do think they're going to win their division because they're at San Jose tonight. I expect them to win that game. Then Colorado heads to LA. Tough game. Play the Ducks back-to-back. Host the Oilers on Tuesday. Then they host the Jets, an important game for the Jets, and they finish at the Predators. So they play a lot of hockey. They play against some playoff teams, certainly. So it's not an easy schedule by any means, but they have more games. They got 2 games coming up against non-playoff teams. Darren Helm's a bottom. He's a 4th liner. He may not play every game. For Colorado, you hear nothing on Gabriel Landeskog. Nothing. I haven't heard a peep. I haven't heard a thing about him all year. I haven't heard an update in months. To me, it sounds like he's not going to play this season. Because I believe you would have heard something. It's like the Leash reporters. They're doing a terrible job. They're terrible at their job if he is going to come back and play. Because we haven't heard anything. Haven't heard a damn thing. But Cale Makar is so dynamic. He's such a special player. He changes the game. He is their MOP, their most outstanding player, their most valuable player. So if he needs to sit down for the next week to be prepared for April, May, June, fine. So be it. Who cares? I'm of the opinion you don't need to play these games before the playoffs, if you ask me. The Leafs, well, O'Reilly's got to get back. I don't buy into that. That O'Reilly has to play and build some chemistry. Sheldon Keefe's not going to keep the same lines anyways. What chemistry is he going to build? Come back, play 3rd line center, play that role. You're good. That's just how I approach it. I don't think you need to play all these games. Oh, I need him to play Tuesday, but then not play Thursday because we have so many days between games. No, these guys are ready to play. They come back and play. Nikita Kucherov didn't play for a whole fucking year. Came back and was the best player, other than Vash, in the playoffs. And the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup, made the most points. He didn't play a damn regular season game. If you're good enough, who cares? Who cares if you're good enough? You can step back in and play. And guess what? Cale Makar is good enough. Sit him down. Don't worry about it. I got to play him this night, but then not play him this night because I worry about... No, screw that. You're overthinking it. You're overthinking it. Just go out there and play when called upon in the big moments. Like around the league, it's this thought of, well, load management. Should we sit this guy out? If you want to play, okay. But I'll be honest. If I'm a coach and my player comes to me and he says, you know what, I don't really want to play for the next week. And there's no LTIR, there's nothing you can make it work, the salary cap, okay, sure. What do I care? Keep working out, be ready to play. But I'm not of the opinion, well, if he doesn't play during this time period, well, that's why we lost the series. No, that's not why he lost the series. Because he wasn't sharp in game one. That's never the correct narrative. That's never what happens. Ever. He wasn't so good in this game. No. That's not why you lost or won the series. Your team find it at the right time? Did you find that connection? Did a superstar step up? Did the 94 Rangers win because everybody played their last game of the season? No, maybe because their GM made a lot of good moves at the deadline, bringing in guys who scored clutch goals. And they had Mark fucking Messier. Pretty good player. Maybe that's why they won. I don't think they were considering, well, if we don't play him on this Tuesday night, we got to play him on the Thursday so he doesn't have 4 days off between his next game. Who cares? What is this? What is this thinking? A hockey parent that thinks, oh, I need to get my kid into this hockey school, then get him into this hockey school, and not let him go to swimming lessons because I need him in this because he's going to be in the NHL one day. No, stop. Just athletes know themselves better than you do. Let them tell you what they need. Like, you're telling me if Vasilevsky says to John Cooper, yeah, I'm not playing until game 1, he's going to fight him on that? Tampa knows they're playing Toronto. It's the series. Locked in. They're going to Toronto game 1. They don't care. They ain't shook. And if Vasilevsky, I guarantee you John Cooper's like, hey, if you don't want to play, you don't got to play. I'll play Brian Elliott. We'll call up our Syracuse crunch goalie, and he'll sit on the bench. You can go in the press box. You can go golfing. You can go down the lazy fucking river for all I care. Hey, you ready to go game 1, Toronto? I know you'll be locked in because you're the best band goalie in the world. Austin Matthews, you don't want to play again? Cool. Who cares what all these dumb people on the radio think? Oh, the chemistry's not there. He's going to have a week off between games. So what? So what? When you take a week's vacation to go down south, do you think your employer gets worried when you come back? Yeah, I think when you're down on the beach there, I'm going to need you to bring your file with you just to make sure your accounting skills are still good so I know you're sharp when you get back. Is that ever pondered? Is that ever thought of in another profession? You weren't on Wall Street for 2 weeks when you went to the Bahamas. When you get back, maybe when you're down there, log in and just do a few trades for me. I want to keep you sharp. No. Because you're on fucking vacation. Or I'm taking a break. It's not both. It's one or the other. If you own the business, that's a whole other thing. Does Andre Vasilevsky, does Austin Matthews, does Cale Makar, do they own their respective teams? No. So guess what? Operation's still going to function. Still sell tickets to these games. Alex Newhook, you're playing. Guess what? You're not a superstar. You haven't proven yourself. You're playing every game. Right out of the way. Your knee hurts? I don't care. You're playing. Alex Kerfoot, guess what? You're playing first line tonight, buddy. Why? Well, I don't want these players to get hurt. They really want to play. So, go ahead. Have fun. Colorado's doing the right thing. They get a player nicked up, send him out. But to me, teams that decide this guy isn't playing for the next week, because that's the way they want to do it, and they want to use load management in a sense, I have no problem with that either. Because that's the way the athlete wants to approach it. That's the way the athlete looks at it. I don't need this prep. I don't need to play these meaningless games because guess what? I'm sharp all the fucking time. I'm ready to go all day, every day. Come game 1, I'll be great. Anyway. But I hear that a lot. Well, this guy's got to be back and play this and get some chemistry. Oh, enough. What chemistry are you getting when you're playing a team that doesn't care if they win or lose? Do you think they care? That's building your confidence. No. Does that make you feel good? Oh, well, he hasn't, those guys didn't try, but we beat them. Snore. Let's go to one stupid thought to a game last night that was full of stupidity. So last night I'm settling in, getting prepared to watch the Calgary Flames and the Winnipeg Jets. And I did. I watched all of it, bouncing back between a few NBA games. But Calgary Flames and Winnipeg Jets game last night was something else. It had animosity. It had poor officiating. And it had a whole lot of incompetence and stupidity. I was truly baffled last evening by what was transpiring. It was, I don't know which team wanted to lose more. I don't know which team's power play had the worst approach. I don't know which team just wanted to take more stupid penalties. The second period, the first 5 to 7 minutes, was pure anarchy. Nate Schmidt had 2 breakaways, missed the net on one, hit the back of the net on the other, and the backside of the net, not the back of the net, to score a goal. It was true chaos, reckless abandon, and yet some way, somehow, the Calgary Flames, my mortal enemy, the team that I hate watching more than any other team in the league, find a way to win last night in Winnipeg. Somehow, some way. Why did they win last night? Why did the Flames, who lost to the Chicago Blackhawks for the 4th time this season, the night before, lose to the Winnipeg Jets? Here's why. The Winnipeg Jets play as if they are a team that's proven anything. They play like Tiger Woods should approach Augusta. They play like they've accomplished the goal already. Their top dog on the street, Mark Scheifele, I like him a lot. But I'll tell you, I've watched the Jets a lot lately, and he's playing very cavalier, and he's playing with no thought or reason for anything that he's doing. He has the puck on the power play. He's right aligned with the net. They've been on the ice for about 50 seconds. It's been going really well. He's got all the time in the world. He fires a pass to nobody. There's no defense covering. They're on opposite sides. He's got one on the corner. They're on the power play. Puck all the way down the ice. Last night, he's on a 2-on-1. Defense is coming towards him. He's got no shot on the play. He takes a shot. His back check, non-existent. And Mark, he was just so frustrating last night. He's playing as if he doesn't care. And that's something I don't want to have to say about Mark Scheifele, because he's one of my favorite players. Normally, I love his compete level. I love the way, but his body language, just the way he approached the game last night, he did everything in his power to screw it up for the Jets. The team does enough to screw it up, and he added fuel to that fire. The Calgary Flames are I mean, Rasmus Anderson falls into the boards, hurts himself, then he plays a shift later. John Huberdeau's still he's been floating for 80 games. Still floating, still doing his thing out there, which is nothing. He's not in the first power play unit anymore. Nikita Zadorov scores the third goal of the game. Nikita fucking Zadorov for the Calgary Flames. Why? Because nobody covers him on the back check back, and he's wide the hell open. Forwards, how about you give a shit coming back? And here's another thing. 5-on-5 last night, the two best players for the Winnipeg Jets were Mason Appleton and Adam Lowry. Consistently, their best players. They're both on the same line, and they play a third-line role. I love Adam Lowry. I also liking Mason Appleton more and more. But they can't be your best players every night. Pierre-Luc Dubois, is he already in Montreal? Has he already got a plane ticket? Is he taking a bus? Is he on a train? I don't know. All he did last night was take stupid penalties. Kyle Connor, how about on the power play, you hit the fucking net? You got that long shot, it's going everywhere but the net. How about you care defensively? Give some effort. Give some effort. That would be nice. Because I'll tell you, the way the Calgary Flames play, it's embarrassing to miss the playoffs if they make it over you. Because that team has no structure. They don't care. They hate their coach. And they're completely out of their element. They might make the playoffs over you. A team that's lost to Chicago 4 times. Chicago is dressing... That's not even a fucking AHL lineup. That's East Coast. That's wherever the hell. That's below university. That team sucks. Peter Mrazek, Anton Hudobin. These guys haven't been good goalies since fucking junior hockey. Why? You have an opportunity to make the playoffs, to get into the postseason, to maybe make some noise if you get there, because once you get there, who knows? Look at the LA Kings. Look at the St. Louis Blues. Shit happens, and this team is good. Scheifele, Connor, Ehlers, Wheeler, Morrissey, Pionk, Connor Hellebuck, one of the best goalies in the world, and yet you score one goal. And you don't create really any good scoring opportunities 5-on-5 last night. Minus the third line. Calgary's best players, Tyler Toffoli, Andrew Mangiapane, their grunt players on Calgary are their best players. Because their skill guys, Lindholm, who was great last year, has been god-awful this season. God awful. Never involved, never doing anything. But I'll tell you, Markstrom made 35 saves. He didn't have many hard stops. It's Michael Backlund who's playing well. It's Mangiapane. Nick Ritchie had an impact last night to Foley. Like, Kadri didn't even play well. He played 16 minutes. Played 16 minutes last night. No impact on the game. Kyle Connor played 20 minutes. He was on the ice for all 3 goals against. And that back check on the Zadorov goal was his fault. Scheifele, same thing. Pierre-Luc Dubois, horrible. Horrible. Took 6 penalty minutes last night. Who is going to make it? And here's my pivot. Currently, Winnipeg occupies the final wildcard position in the Western Conference. They have 89 points. Calgary has 89 points, but Winnipeg is a game in hand. Winnipeg has 4 games left. Calgary has 3. Then you have the Nashville Predators, who have 5. They are 3 points back of Calgary and Winnipeg. Nashville is in action tonight, hosting the Carolina Hurricanes. UC Saros is getting the start. I don't think they want to make the playoffs internally because they're turning things over. They want to make different decisions as an organization, but they're still in the mix. I hope Nashville makes it. I don't root for anybody. I don't care who wins or loses any game. I don't. But I'll tell you, watching that game last night, neither of those teams deserves to make the playoffs. It's pathetic. I don't want to watch Calgary. Openly admit that. Winnipeg, I like parts of their team. I do. But to give that little of a fuck in a game last night is truly astonishing. Nashville's had injuries. Nashville's had disappointments from a number of players on their team this year. They give out bad contracts. They've been giving out bad contracts for a long time in Nashville. But they got games in hand, and they can kind of control their destiny here. You get Carolina, then they play the Jets Saturday night. They go to Winnipeg Saturday night, the Nashville Predators. Huge game. Then the Jets have the Sharks. Preds play the Flames next Monday as well. Jets play the Minnesota Wild during this stretch. Preds have the Minnesota Wild as well, and they finished with Colorado. It's unlikely. I do think Winnipeg's going to make the playoffs. But to watch them in their most important game of the season yesterday come out and play that poorly, it's hard to be that bad. It is really hard to be that bad and to give that little of an effort. But both teams did not have a plan. Both teams did not play with structure. Huberdeau, the best players on both teams, Huberdeau, Scheifele, Dubois, all were horrible. Complete disasters last night. And yet still, if I'm Vegas, who currently has the top spot in the Western Conference, I would rather play Nashville and or Calgary before I play Winnipeg. Now, Vegas may end up winning the Pacific Division because that's a tight race. Let's get into that for a second. Currently, as we sit here, Vegas leads the Pacific Division race. They have 104 points. They've played 70. They have 4 games remaining. Edmonton is second in the Pacific. They have 103 points. They have played 79 games, so they have 3 games remaining on their schedule. LA has 4 games remaining on their schedule. They have 100 points. They are 4 back of Vegas. But here's the thing. LA plays against Vegas tonight. So if Vegas can beat LA clean, they basically guarantee that LA will finish 3rd in the Pacific, and they'll likely play Edmonton. But if LA wins tonight regulation, they are right in the thick of things. They're still in the race for the division title. Oilers got the Sharks coming up. LA's got Colorado, not an easy game. Vegas has Dallas. Pretty easy to understand who's easier there. Kings have the Canucks on Monday. Not exactly a tough opponent. But again, they do love to play spoiler. Vegas has Seattle twice, and Edmonton has Colorado and the Sharks again. So Edmonton has to play the Sharks 2 more times, one of the worst teams in the NHL over their last 3 games. This race is very much wide open. Watching all 3 teams, I think Vegas is the worst of the bunch. But yet, I'm so impressed by them because they just find ways to get a point. They beat Minnesota the other night. They get a point against the Nashville Predators. That point means a lot. Laurent Brossoit is starting again in goal tonight. He's 4-0-3 on the season. Hasn't played a whole lot of hockey, but he continues to play decent and find ways to get points and ultimately win games. Jonathan Quick's decent when he gets it between the pipes. Alex Pietrangelo gets a couple goals the other night. Philip Doroshev scores 2 goals when he's supposed to be a healthy scratch, only enters the game because of an injury. It's something else to look at what this Vegas team has pulled off. Spending a whole lot of money, and they have a whole lot of points, and may win the Western Conference. And yet they're a team that has a whole lot of holes, and I don't think anybody would be that scared to play. Do they get Logan Thompson back by the time the playoff starts? No news on that either. Watching Edmonton and Los Angeles the other night. Phenomenal game, by the way. Edmonton wins because they score in the power play. The best power play almost of all time. Certainly in the modern era. And how goalies are so good and the penalty kills evolved. They're extremely difficult to deal with. Nugent Hopkins is now up to 100 points. Draisaitl scoring power play goal after power play goal. And they find a way to win. And in the stretch, McDavid hasn't even exactly been phenomenal, but it doesn't really matter. Because Draisaitl's been great. Hyman scored his 35th of the year last night. Pretty damn good season for Zach Hyman again in Edmonton. Ekholm's been phenomenal since coming over. Quietly, Darnell Nurse has had a pretty darn good year. Now you might look at the points and say, well, he's only got 43. Okay. He's keeping pucks out of the net. He plays big minutes. He played 23 last night. Against the LA Kings, where I thought they played really well defensively, he played 23-26. He's playing 23 minutes a night. He wasn't on for a goal either game the past 2 nights. Hyman's playing well. Vander Kane knows his role. Draisaitl. And I got to give props to this player. He's still not my favorite, but he is improving. Evan Bouchard looks comfortable as an NHL defenseman. He had a whole lot of issues when he was playing World Juniors, playing in the CHL. His game wasn't really developed yet. He had a big shot. His body was kind of weird, and he didn't skate all that well. But he looks he's got a massive shot from the back end. Any team would want him on their power play because he can completely let it go. He's got a rocket. And he makes their power play more dangerous because you have to respect it. You don't know what's coming because he's got that laser back there. And if he just wants to, tee off and take a shot on goal, he can. So you have him as the threat. And then you also have McDavid, Draisaitl, and Nugent Hopkins, the plethora of other guys who can torch you as well. It's a complete nightmare. And the more I watch of the Edmonton Oilers, the more I like them. The more I like them. They got to the conference final last year. This team is a hell of a lot better. McDavid and Draisaitl are going to have to be fantastic again in the postseason, but they won't have to be as relied upon as they were last year. They have more options. They have more guys that they can turn to score a goal, to block a shot, to back check, to have a shutdown line. They have a guy I think you trust in more to make a save than they did last year when it was Mike Smith or Mikko Koskinen in between the pipes and they got to a conference final. Stuart Skinner looks good. Darnell Nurse, these guys, they have it. So kudos to them. But I'll tell you, I watched that game, and again, the power play was the difference. LA is still a very good team. I like the LA Kings a lot. They don't match up well with Edmonton. That's the thing. Edmonton is so fast. They're so tricky to deal with. And LA, they don't beat them all. They don't beat them very often. They didn't beat them in the playoffs last year. They've lost them a number of times this year. So I just think it's a bad matchup. And I think for LA, you'd rather see Edmonton win the division than Vegas. I think if LA is going to be a 3 seed, if they're going to be in that position, I think they'd rather see Vegas fall and they play Vegas in the first round because I think LA will beat Vegas. take their chances with Edmonton in the second round. That's how I think they'd approach it, because it's just a bad matchup. It's not a good one for them to I just look at the speed, the physicality. I like LA and the way they cut off the middle of the ice. And I think they're going to have to do that more and more in that series. Just take away the middle of the ice, block it up a little bit, make it, tough to navigate. Because otherwise, Edmonton's got too much speed. They have too many horses, and it makes it difficult for LA to compete with. Because LA's got a good defense, but it's not great. As you're watching this, I have a puppy in the camera with me. She's joined the fray here. She's center of attention. She likes to make everybody know that she's here. Little Dirk. But for LA, Edmonton's a tough matchup. I do think they can beat them, but I think they'll need a lot to go their way in order to do it. But it'd be another fun series, and I'd be all for it happening. The scoring this season's been incredible in the NHL, seeing the rise in goals, seeing the rise in 100-point players. You look at the NHL as we stand currently, there are 7 players that have 100 points on the season. But yet there are another 5 who are within 5 points of getting to 100. So we may have 13 to 14 players this season that get to 100 points. McDavid does, Draisaitl, Kucherov, Pastrnak, Tkachuk, Jason Robertson got to 100. Nugent Hopkins and Nathan MacKinnon both got to 100 points last night. Nathan MacKinnon has 100 points in 65 games. I mentioned earlier how he might be the best. I think he's been the best player in 2023. And if McDavid didn't exist, he'd be the Hart Trophy frontrunner. But unfortunately, he plays in the league with Connor McDavid. Maybe he'll beat him again for the Stanley Cup. But he's been phenomenal. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, former number 1 overall pick, kind of the forgotten piece in Edmonton, having a spectacular year. He's got 36 goals, 100 points, a force on the power play. He had 35 points last year. Just incredible. His last full 82-game campaign, he had 69 points, and that was his career high. He's got 100 this year, and he had 28 goals in that season. He's got 36 this season. It's incredible. To see Jason Robertson take that jump in Dallas. He's only 23. He's got 101 points. Tkachuk, another 100-point year. He's got 39 goals. He'll get to 40 by the end of the year. Pasta, 56 goals, a career high. Previous career high was 48. Previous career high in points was 95. He's got 103 this year. Elias Pettersson, who's been quietly so fantastic for Vancouver, he has 97. His previous career high was 66. 27 goals, career high. He's got 37 this year. Carlson's got 96 points. He's been great for a long time. But his career high in points is 82. That was back in 2015, 2016. It's been a minute for him. He's never gotten to a 90 points, let alone 100. He's likely going to get to 100. I thought his career was over. I still wouldn't trade for him because I think that's a trap. He's great. Mitch Marner, 95. Mitch Marner, another guy looking to get his first 100-point season. He's been the best player on the Maple Leafs this year. Mikko Rantanen's got 94, 49 goals, previous career high, 31. And you have guys like Jack Hughes, Tage Thompson, Braden Point, Sidney Crosby's going to get to 100 points again. Maybe he's got 88. Zibanejad, Stützle, Clayton Keller, Matthews. Stamkos quietly has 80 points, same as Matthews, if you were wondering. So just to see a lot of these guys have career years, the scoring go up, the incredible play around the league, it's fun. It's fun to see. It's fun to watch. The way the game's grown, the way the game's evolved. And you have a couple big scorers who are in the mix and a couple guys to see how clutch they are and how important they are, because over the next week, just talked about the West. I'll be following that storyline, who wins the Pacific, things like that. But the other major point, the other major piece is the East wildcard race. Because as we stand right now, the Florida Panthers occupy the first wildcard position. After the season they've had, the ups and downs, they have 87 points, fresh off defeating the Buffalo Sabres the other night in a highly contested 2-1 game. Alex Lyon, the new savior, made over 40 saves, was playing in the American Hockey League, was originally drafted by Carolina, was playing in the Calder Cup last year for the Charlotte Checkers, is now basically the number one goalie because Bobrovsky is sick. But I think even when he comes back, like I'm looking currently, Alex Lyon's getting the start tonight against the Ottawa Senators. He's been phenomenal. You have Verhaeghe, you have Tkachuk in Florida. They're all dialed in as well. Florida, 87 points with 4 games left. The Islanders are currently in the second wildcard position. They've also played 78 games. They have 87 points, same as Florida. Florida has the upper hand when it comes to the tiebreaker. The Isles have lost a few games in a row. They've gotten dumped, and Florida's found a way to win games. The Islanders get Tampa Bay tonight on a back-to-back, so they'll get Brian Elliott between the pipes. I mentioned before, I don't really think Tampa particularly cares about this game. The Islanders need it desperately. Ilya Sorokin between the pipes. So you have that, and then you also have the Pittsburgh Penguins, who are currently outside the playoffs looking in with 4 games left. They are playing the Minnesota Wild tonight in Pittsburgh. Fresh off a 5-1 drubbing Tuesday night by the hands of the New Jersey Devils. And nobody respects New Jersey as much as me, but you can't have a 5-1 performance in a must-win game. You can't be beaten 5-1 and completely embarrassed like that with everything that's at stake. Crosby had to have been fuming that team played so pathetic. Minnesota dropped a point to Vegas. Minnesota is still playing for seeding. This game is still important to them. They're in the mix with Colorado and with Dallas for home ice, winning the Central Division, so they still have something to play for. So you have a backup goaltender in Tampa tonight for the Islanders. You got Florida playing Ottawa, who's not going to make the playoffs, but still, I'm sure would love to play spoiler. They beat Florida a week ago Monday, so we've seen it done. And then you have Pittsburgh hosting Minnesota. Credit to Alex Lyon. That's one of the best stories lately, just how good he's been, the fact that he's come in, he's playing every night. Like I said, if he wins again tonight and they got 3 games left, he should start the last 3. Not Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky was good. He hasn't been great all year. Their goaltending hasn't been. This guy's playing well. They're playing well in front of him. Ride that wave. After tonight, they go to Washington, Lyon. Then they host Toronto. And they finish against Carolina. So not an easy finish for Florida, but I'll tell you this. You get 2 teams that are not going to make the playoffs the last 2 games. You got to win both of them. Hopefully you win one of the 2 against the Leafs and or Hurricanes. Maybe you get the Leafs against a backup goaltender. Maybe Carolina's locked up the Metropolitan. They don't start their key pieces. But also, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who shows up in this position. You played horrible all year long. Go win. Go win because you've screwed up enough games down the stretch. The Islanders, Tampa off a back-to-back. Don't think they care about that game tonight. Pittsburgh's got Detroit Saturday. Islanders got the Flyers, so 2 non-playoff teams for those 2 teams. Then the Islanders go to the Capitals. Pittsburgh has the Blackhawks in there. It's a nice team to play. Pittsburgh's got Columbus. And the Islanders have the Canadiens. So every team here has some teams that are not going to make the playoffs that, quite frankly, aren't that good. But it's about showing up at the right time and being ready to play. The Washington Capitals aren't making the playoffs. It'll be the first time since 2014. It's been a hot minute since the Pittsburgh Penguins have not made the playoffs. Since that's not going to sit well with Sidney Crosby. His team misses the playoffs here. It very well could happen because the team does not play good defensively. They're completely out to lunch half the time. And if they miss, heads are going to roll in Pittsburgh. And Crosby's not immune from this because he's on the team. You're on the team that doesn't show up. You're on the team that doesn't play all that well. Guess what? You're going to take some criticism. Deserved, I might add. Also credit to Devin Levi, now of the Buffalo Sabres, who played really well the other night too. College goaltender coming out, playing well. I had said last week that the Frozen Four was last Thursday, and I go on my computer to watch it, getting ready to watch the game. It's tonight. I was trying to upload it, trying to find it, TSN Plus, nothing there. The Frozen Four, the 2 semifinals are this evening. Starting a couple hours, Quinnipiac, Michigan, Minnesota, and St. Cloud State. Yeah. So those 2 games are this evening. They were not last week. I got that wrong trying to watch it. But there's players for, you have Matthew Nyes, who could be an NHL player. You have Luke Hughes, who could be heading to the NHL after this, potentially joining New Jersey on a cup run. They have a good defense core. Does he break in? Does he get to play games? I don't know. But I think he's going pro, so he'll be going to New Jersey. You have, obviously, the Logan Cooley. Arizona's season's going to be over in less than a week, but he's likely going to turn pro. He'll likely be playing for the Desert Dogs next season. So he could be leaving University of Minnesota. He could be heading to the NHL. A bunch of guys could be joining teams in the not too distant future. But I'm looking forward to watching the games. Adam Fantilli obviously is going to be going to the NHL draft. 2 Frozen Four games this evening. The final on Saturday. What else did I want to talk about today? Well, Dawson Mercer got the 25 goals. Congrats to him from Newfoundland. Really good player for the New Jersey Devils. Gets better seemingly game by game. Only 2 years into his career, and he's already playing fantastic. He's the real deal. That's what I'll say about him. He's a competitor, plays hard, plays the right way. I think he's got a bright future. New Jersey, 3 points back of Carolina. Carolina does have a game in hand. Carolina's got 5 games left. New Jersey with 4. I think New Jersey still has a chance because Carolina's got some tough games. I mentioned they play Nashville tonight. Nashville will be desperate. Then the Hurricanes play the Sabres. They got the Sens, Red Wings, and they finish with, they might play on the Friday. No, they don't. Pardon me, they finish with the Panthers. So, a bunch of non-playoff teams, but again, I think that Nashville game's tougher tonight. I think that Buffalo game's tougher than you might think because they're going to be playing a lot of guys coming from college, a lot of guys that just want to make the team next year and don't care about seeding, don't care about standings. That's not their focus. So this evening you got Vegas, LA, interesting. Maple Leafs play the Bruins. It's interesting, but it's not overly fascinating to me because I don't think either team cares about the game, and I don't think it tells you anything about what's going to happen 3 weeks from now. Because first off, Toronto's got to beat Tampa. Boston's got to beat their opponent. Both could be out. One could win. One could be out. Who knows? It's not going to tell you anything of what's going to happen 2 weeks from now. And any of that narrative, they're trying to sell the game. I get it. Not working for me. Wild Penguins, as I said, those early East games are interesting. Kings, Golden Knights, Seattle hosting Arizona again. They need to keep banking points to make sure they get that first wild card position. What else can we chat about quickly here? The Blue Jays are looking to win 3 in a row. Today they're currently playing against the Kansas City Royals. They got a 6-3 lead. Kevin Gausman went 6 scoreless. Nice little outing for him. 4 hits. They've up 6-3. Vladdy, he's heating up. 3 for 4 today. Another home run. Bo Bichette was 2 for 4 today. Vareshao was 2 for 4. He's playing well. Chapman's getting some hits. It's good to see. You're playing a really bad team. You should beat them. Kansas City's 1-5. The Blue Jays should sweep that series. They're going to win 2 or 3. You'll take it. But you should sweep them. They stink. That's my analysis there. In-depth stuff. If you're not following the CHL playoffs, here's a little interesting tidbit. Tonight, the Windsor Spitfires play the Kitchener Rangers. Spitfires are a heavy favorite in this series because they have Shane Wright. They traded for Shane Wright. They traded for a number of players at the OHL trade deadline. Well, the Windsor Spitfires are down 0-3 to the Kitchener Rangers. If Kitchener wins this evening, they will sweep Windsor. Sweep them out after they've trade away a lot of draft picks, expecting to compete for the Mem Cup title. A possible sweep is in our midst. It's really something. It's really something to see what's happened. And the fodder that would happen if somehow Windsor loses the game and it gets swept by them. Oof. London's looking for a sweep. Ottawa 67's are a good team. Barrie Colts, another heavy favorite, playing the Hamilton Bulldogs. That series locked up at 2. Brant Clark, the LA Kings, drafted defenseman, the key player for Barrie. They acquired him at the OHL trade deadline as well. They're in trouble. That's something to follow. Connor Bedard's team in Regina, they had a 2-0 series lead over the Saskatoon Blades. They won both games in Saskatoon. The following 2 games in Regina, Saskatoon won both in overtime, including a comeback win last night. Down 3-1 in the third. They find a way to win. Bedard's got 13 points in 4 games, but that series is locked up at 2 apiece. So something to follow there. Plan on doing a show this weekend. The NBA wraps up this weekend. Talk about seeding, things of that nature. Also want to get into UFC 287, which is on Saturday. Lots of storylines, lots to talk about there. So doing a show, this might be tomorrow morning, depending on what I get done and things of that nature. But a podcast coming this weekend at some point. So be locked and loaded for that. But until I talk to you next, happy Easter. Enjoy the time with your family. Thank you for all the support as always. And until then, take care. This is To The Point.